You turn my morning into dancing. Your love changes everything. There's something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love, something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into
Good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Church, Thursday morning. And here in southeastern Michigan, what a temperature change. Wow. We've gone from the 80s and 90s down into the 70s. We could use a cool weather, not bad. Great to have all of you on board. We're going to be looking at Psalm 62. And by the way, I'll be working my way down to Greendale. So we're going to be preaching from there and back to Oxford. But let's say hi to a few people, and then we'll get moving. Let's see. Steve Drew, good morning. Steve, pay attention a little bit. I'm waiting for you to be on the devotions this week. I got a way for you to set up your text and your image at the same time. But I'll show you just a second. I'm out there on X. Good morning, Rooted Men. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Steve Ponoworski, good morning. Ken Gooch, good morning, fellow brothers in arms. And there are a couple others out there. Interesting. Nobody on X, but I'm on X. That's interesting. I don't think the counter's working right. But at any rate, let me pull up the text and show Steve what I'm doing now. Add to stage. Now, Steve, hit Shift 5. And now you'll be a little bit larger over to the side. The text is still there. And then when you remove the text, you'll pop in full. All right. We're in Psalm 62, a similar message as yesterday's, but I just find it wonderfully beautiful that King David, you just kind of think he lived this envious life, right? Because he was king, anointed as a kid, and this has not been easy for him. He's had children try to overthrow his kingdom. He's had issues with some of his generals. Like all of us, life's not easy. And the question is, at the end of the day, where are we going to land for our confidence, for our refuge, for our protector, right? And David is going to tell us God alone, right? So look at verse 1. For God alone, my soul waits in silence. From him comes my salvation. From God alone, my very being, soul, my very being waits for God alone. Why? Because only from him comes salvation. Only from him comes the answers. Only from him comes the direction. All good and perfect gifts come from above. We don't turn to the kingdom of this world to find answers. We turn to his kingdom. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not greatly be shaken. I shall not be greatly shaken. Because of my having my anchor, right? This hope we have is an anchor of our soul, sure and steadfast. It enters behind the veil, right? We're not just kind of wishing God to help us. He promises to help us. He promises to be with us. He promises to work all things out to the good for those who love him. He promises, and we rest there in those promises. They take pleasure in falsehood. Oh, the opposite of truth. You see, when we make God our refuge, we are re-rooting ourselves, building a foundation on God's unconditional love and his eternal truth, and not resting on the lies that the foolish people are resting on, right? They're resting on the foolishness. They take pleasure in falsehood. Oh, they'll bless with their mouths, but inwardly they curse. For God alone, O my soul, wait in silence, for my hope is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. It sounds a lot like Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even if the earth should change, though mountains begin to fall into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam. On God rests my salvation and my glory. My mighty rock, my refuge is God. My refuge is God. He's my mighty rock. I rest on him. I wait for him. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. Pour out your heart before him. He's a good, good father, right? God is a refuge for us. Those of low estate are but a breath. Those of high estate are a delusion. It doesn't matter how the kingdom of this world sees it. Even the mighty, even those who think they're something, they're ultimately deluded if they're putting their hope in their own strength, if they're putting their hope in their position, if they're putting their hope in the lies of the kingdom of this world. In the balances, they go up. They are together lighter than a breath. Put no trust in extortion. Set no vain hopes on robbery. All principles of the kingdom of this world. If riches increase, set not your heart on them. This stuff comes and goes, right? Jesus says, set your treasure on heavenly things where rust and moth don't corrode and eat. Once God has spoken. Twice have I heard this, that power belongs to God. He's the one who speaks and the earth melts. And to you, O Lord, belongs steadfast love. Not only his steadfast love for us, but why not our steadfast love for him? For you will render to man according to his work. Your eye is on all of us, says Solomon in the Proverbs. You see a man's ways. You know all of our whys. And we're going to start pulling out the roots of our whys that are still clinging to things in the kingdom of this world, and we're going to transplant them into your kingdom, Heavenly Father, because you alone are good. You alone are our refuge. You alone hear our voice. You alone hear our cries. You alone love us and promise to redeem and to save us. Promise that you can work all things out to the good. No more hoping in this world. We're going to hope on you, Father, because you are faithful to us. You are faithful. Your love is steadfast. Your truth is eternal. All right. I hope that this devotion was a blessing to you. Pull myself out of there. There we go. Remember, Steve, shift 5. Shift 5. All right, that's it. Anybody else come on board? Yeah, a lot of people came on board. Yeah, now there's people out there in X. There we go. I knew there had to be some people out there. All right, blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.